Today, let's dive into the incredible story of Queen Lili'uokalani. She was Hawaii's only reigning queen, its very last monarch. But she was so much more. A composer, an author, and a leader who fought for her nation right to the very end. But to really get her story, we're not going to start at the beginning. Nope. We're jumping right into the most dramatic point in her life.
I want you to just imagine this for a second. It's 1895. You are the rightful queen of a sovereign nation, but you're a prisoner. You're being held under armed guard in a single room of your own royal palace. I mean, can you even fathom that? This was the reality for Queen Lili'uokalani, a monarch confined while a new government, one that had seized her kingdom, was deciding her fate.
So what do you do in that situation? Denied newspapers? Denied contact with the outside world? She didn't just wait. She created. This incredible quilt became a chronicle of her life, of her nation's story. Every single stitch was a quiet act of defiance, a testament to her absolutely unbreakable spirit.
Her imprisonment led to an absolutely impossible choice. In her autobiography, she wrote these words, and you can just feel the agony, can't you? The agony of being forced to formally sign away her throne. It was a moment of profound personal sacrifice. But why? Why was she forced to do it?
Now, this was not a surrender out of weakness. Not at all. An armed uprising to put her back on the throne had failed. She was arrested, tried by a military court, and sentenced. But then her supporters were threatened with execution. And that's when she made a choice. She signed the abdication document to save their lives. It was an act of a queen protecting her people, even when she didn't have her crown.
So, to really understand the leader she became, we gotta rewind. Let's go back. How did she ascend to become the sovereign of the Hawaiian kingdom in the first place? Well, her story begins with a really unique and important cultural tradition.
At birth, she was given in hanai, which is a kind of informal adoption, to high-ranking chiefs. Now, this wasn't about giving a child away, it was all about strengthening kinship bonds, making sure a child was raised with the biggest possible network of love and influence. This deeply Hawaiian practice shaped her entire worldview, and it created this profound sense of responsibility for all her people as her extended family, her ohana.
So from a really young age, her path was kind of set towards leadership. She was educated at the royal school right alongside other future rulers, groomed for duty her whole life. When her brother King Kalakaua was on the throne, she was named his heir apparent. And then in 1891, upon his death, she became Queen Lili'uokalani, inheriting a kingdom that was already right in the middle of a huge political crisis.
Right. So when she took the throne, she didn't just get a crown. She inherited a massive political battle that was already boiling over. And it all centered on one deeply unpopular document.
This was the Bayonet Constitution. And the name really says it all, doesn't it? It was forced on her brother, literally at gunpoint, by a group of non-native businessmen and politicians. It totally stripped the monarchy of its powers, and this is the crucial part. It took voting rights away from tons of native Hawaiians and Asian citizens by putting in these strict property requirements. The queen, who had the support of 2/3 of her people's registered voters, tried to make this right. Her proposed new constitution, it was designed to restore the monarch's authority and, most importantly, give voting rights back to the people who'd had them stolen. This was a direct challenge to the foreign elite who had seized all that power.
And you can probably guess what happened next. This bold move to give power back to her people, well, it was a direct threat to that foreign elite, and it led to the swift, dramatic overthrow of her kingdom. Her opponents were not about to give up their power without a fight.
Her attempt to proclaim a new constitution was the final trigger. A group of mostly American and European business leaders who called themselves the Committee of Safety organized to get rid of her and push for the U.S. to annex Hawaii. And the plot escalated fast. The U.S. minister to Hawaii ordered troops to come ashore from the USS Boston. Now, the official reason was, to protect American lives and property, but their presence sent a very clear, very intimidating message.
And you can see right here what it looked like on the ground. With foreign troops stationed in Honolulu, the Queen's own royal guard was effectively neutralized. She knew that any resistance from her side would probably just lead to a bloodbath against a much more powerful military force.
So on January 17, 1893, facing this impossible situation, Queen Lili'uokalani made a really critical, strategic choice. She would yield her authority, but here's the key part, not to the coup plotters.
She surrendered directly to the United States government. This wasn't an abdication, it was an appeal,
She trusted that the American government, once it actually investigated the illegal actions of its own people, would see the injustice of it all and restore her to her rightful place.
But her story doesn't just end with the overthrow, not even close. While President Grover Cleveland did call the whole thing illegal, he couldn't actually restore her. And this meant her fight for her people was far from over. Her resistance just took a new form.
What's this number? 21,000. That is the number of signatures from Native Hawaiians on what were called the Coup petitions, protesting the annexation of Hawaii. This was a massive grassroots effort that Lili'uokalani supported, and you know what? It worked. It successfully defeated an annexation treaty in the U.S. Senate, proving just how much her people were against it. You know, throughout her life, her voice found its most enduring expression in music. She composed over 150 songs, but Aloha Oe is the one we all know. What started as a love song became an anthem of farewell for her lost kingdom, a symbol of Hawaiian identity that's known all across the world.
Her legacy is just one of persistent, dignified struggle. She wrote her autobiography to make sure her side of the story was told. She traveled all the way to Washington, D.C. to lobby for her people. And before she died, she put her remaining lands into a trust that, to this day, cares for the most vulnerable Hawaiian children.
Lili'uokalani died in 1917, and yeah, it marked the end of an era. But her influence, her music, and her dedication to the Hawaiian people, that never truly ended. Her actions made sure that the spirit of her nation would live on, long after the monarchy was gone. Queen Lili'uokalani's life really leaves us with this profound question. Her struggle to preserve her nation's story reminds us that true power isn't just found in a crown, but in the voice that history allows to speak. So we really have to ask, when history is written, who gets to tell the tale?